Hello everyone. In this video we are going to take a look at the posterior triangle. Now in this photograph of the neck you can see the outline of the posterior triangle in blue over here, and you can make out that the posterior triangle is bounded in front by this posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. Behind it is bounded by the anterior border of the trapezius. The base is the middle one-third of the clavicle, and the apex is high up on the superior nuchal line of the occipital bone, where the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius meet almost at a point. And the roof, if you are dissecting from the skin deep, then from outside inward it would be the skin, the superficial fascia containing the platysma muscle in the anteroinferior corner, and in the superficial fascia you will have the superficial veins, arteries, lymphatics and nerves, and deep to that you will get the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. And when you have cut through the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, only then you will enter the posterior triangle proper. And within the posterior triangle it is again divided into two triangles by the inferior belly of the omohyoid. The one above is the occipital triangle, is the larger triangle, and the one below is the smaller supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. Now if we take a look in this diagram, this above here is the occipital triangle or the upper part of the posterior triangle, and this below is the lower part of the posterior triangle or the supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. Now this upper occipital triangle is bounded in front again by the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, behind by the anterior border of the trapezius, inferiorly by the inferior belly of the omohyoid, and above again it meets at a point over the superior nuchal line. Now the floor is covered by the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia, beneath which you will get a series of muscles from above downwards. From above downwards they are formed by the semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, levator scapulae, scalenus posterior, scalenus medius, and as we have said, all this is covered by the prevertebral layer of the deep cervical fascia. In contents you will get somewhere here the spinal accessory nerve, accompanied by branches from the third and fourth cervical spinal segments, and the dorsal scapular nerve, and some branches of the cervical plexus. Actually, over the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid there is a nodal point from which the branches of the cervical plexus come from deep to superficial and become cutaneous. You have the lesser occipital nerve in this direction, that is carrying fibers of C2. You have the great auricular nerve, that is fibers of C2, C3. You have the transverse cervical cutaneous nerve, again fibers of C2, C3, and the supraclavicular nerves going below, carrying fibers from C3 and C4. Still below you have the upper trunk of the brachial plexus, derived from the roots of C5, C6, and a little bit of the superficial cervical artery. And above here at the apex you have the prominent occipital artery, which is a branch of the external carotid artery. Now we will take a look at these contents and the floor in detailed diagrams. Now let us take a look at this diagram. Here in the occipital triangle you can see the floor, the semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, levator scapulae, scalenus posterior, scalenus medius. You can just make out the scalenus medius over here, and scalenus anterior will go over into the lower or subclavian triangle, and you can make out the lesser occipital nerve, great auricular nerve, transverse cervical cutaneous nerve, the supraclavicular nerves, and here we have drawn the external jugular vein which is going into the subclavian vein, and over the levator scapulae you can make out the spinal accessory nerve and the branches from C3, C4 accompanying the spinal accessory nerve, and arising from the brachial plexus and going up you have the dorsal scapular nerve, which is the nerve to the rhomboids, and you can make out the occipital artery near the apex. Now coming to the supraclavicular or the subclavian triangle, above it is formed by the inferior belly of the omohyoid, below by the middle one-third of the clavicle, in front by the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, and its roof as usual is formed by the skin, superficial fossa, platysma, investing layer of deep cervical fossa, and all the other superficial structures. The floor over here consists of the outer border of the first rib and the scalenus medius and the first digitation of the serratus anterior. And actually this subclavian triangle is better visualized if the sternocleidomastoid is retracted, otherwise you cannot actually see the scalenus anterior over here. And the contents of the supraclavicular triangle are the third part of subclavian artery and the subclavian vein, the vein in front of the scalenus anterior, the artery behind the scalenus anterior, and the termination of the external jugular vein into the subclavian vein, the upper, middle and lower trunks of the brachial plexus, and the branches of the brachial plexus, at least some branches. You can see the dorsal scapular nerve over here and the long thoracic nerve. You can't see the long thoracic nerve here, we would need a detailed diagram, but you have the long thoracic nerve and you have the nerve to subclavius. You see this going down, this nerve is the nerve to subclavius. That means somewhere here you have the Erb's point, that is the nerve to subclavius and the supraclavicular nerve. Here is the supraclavicular nerve, here is the nerve to subclavius, and somewhere here is the Erb's point. And because you have managed to see the scalenus anterior, you can see the phrenic nerve over the scalenus anterior, and of the arteries, that is the blood vessels, you are supposed to see the superficial cervical and the suprascapular and the dorsal scapular arteries. And last but not the least, in both the occipital and the subclavian triangles, you will get to see some of the deep cervical lymph nodes. Particularly in the subclavian triangle, you have the important part of the deep cervical lymph nodes, which is the supraclavicular lymph nodes. Now if we can only get a better view, see in this diagram again you can see a clearer view of the occipital and the subclavian triangles. You can see over here the splenius capitis, semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, the large levator scapulae, scalenus medius. You can hardly see the scalenus anterior, and scalenus posterior would be hidden somewhere here. And on the levator scapulae you can again see the accessory nerve and the C3C4 fibers accompanying the accessory nerve, and the cutaneous branches from this nodal point behind the sternocleidomastoid, the lesser occipital nerve and the great auricular nerve and the transverse cervical cutaneous nerve and the supraclavicular nerves. And you can see the upper trunk of the brachial plexus here, and the middle and lower trunk of the brachial plexus extending into the subclavian triangle. And again you can make out the suprascapular artery and the superficial cervical artery, branches of the first part of the subclavian artery. And unless you retract this, you cannot see scalenus anterior. Let's see if we can manage to do that. Again in this diagram you still have not retracted the sternocleidomastoid, so you can't see the scalenus anterior here. You can still make out the semispinalis capitis, the splenius capitis, levator scapulae with the accessory nerve on it, and you can make out the scalenus medius and a little bit of the scalenus posterior over here. So scalenus posterior, scalenus medius, scalenus anterior here with the phrenic nerve on it. You can make out these, and unless we actually retract this part you cannot see the rest. Let us see if we can retract. We have retracted these the sternocleidomastoid and we have cut out a part of the clavicle. So now you can see the scalenus anterior and the phrenic nerve and the trunks of the brachial plexus, and you can see the transverse cervical artery and the suprascapular artery. And you can make out over here these small branches, the nerve to subclavius over here, and you can make out the accessory phrenic nerve also. So only when you have retracted the sternocleidomastoid can you see the rest of the subclavian triangle and actually the chords of the brachial plexus. And you can make out that when you have seen the scalenus anterior, The subclavian vein is in front of the scalenus anterior, and the subclavian artery and the brachial plexus are behind it. That's all.